Welcome to my 2024 collection tour. This video is going to contain mainly LEGO because that's the main thing that I collect, but there will be a couple of other things that I own thrown in for some extra fun. If you're a fan of LEGO or brick-built content in general, maybe consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel for future videos. We're going to be starting with the quick pan around my office here. It's a relatively small room and I try to make the most out of the space. In this corner here, I have a lot of my boxed LEGO sets. There's also a couple of Mega Pokemon sets there at the bottom. Beside that is my desk, and if we continue moving around, you're going to see a Millennium Falcon that I've owned for over a decade. That thing is from my childhood. Continuing on from that, I've got my Mega Pokemon Center that I just reviewed, a couple of ring lights, and the Pokemon The Power of Us cardboard movie stand. There's also a couple of Star Wars figures on the wall that I'll show you in a little bit. Continuing to circle around the room, we have my closet, which I'm not going to get into because it's a complete mess. There's a couple of random items there in the corner, and then this is the main place I put a lot of my LEGO sets on these shelves here. Finishing the pan around the room, I have an area here dedicated to Dragon Ball, which is my favorite anime. Now that we've taken a quick look around the room, we're going to get into more detail, starting with my box LEGO sets found against my wall here. This is really just a bunch of random LEGO sets that I haven't had the time to open and build, or I'm hesitant to open them because they're discontinued, or I just like having them in the box. First up is the AT-ST Raider from The Mandalorian show. I found this on Amazon for a really good deal before it retired, and I'm not sure if I'm going to open it up or not yet. Next up we have Boba Fett Starship. This was given to me as a gift from a friend, and I already have one open, so this one's probably going to stay sealed. Next is the buildable Darth Vader helmet. I do plan to build this one at some point whenever I have the time. Next we have the LEGO Star Wars Mos Eisley Cantina. I've had this bad boy for over 2 years, and I just do not have the space to build it, so it's going to stay sealed for now. Next up are just a couple of random LEGO Marvel sets that I haven't built yet. Next up is another relatively big set. This is the Friends Apartments. I want to say I bought this for my girlfriend on Valentine's Day a couple years ago because she's a huge fan of Friends. I'm sure we'll get around to building it one day. Next up I have one of the LEGO sets from the Avatar movie. I bought this thing on a whim and I don't know if I'll ever build it. I may resell it one day, I'm not sure. I also have this Minecraft set still in the box. My girlfriend has a couple younger siblings and we would spend some time building LEGO Minecraft sets together. I don't really collect LEGO Minecraft much anymore, but I'm sure I'll get around to building this at some point. Next up we have my only LEGO video set that I own. I found this on clearance at Barnes & Noble, so I decided to pick it up because I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm going to throw a bunch of these random sets together. The food truck, Magisto's Workshop, and the Easter Chicks were all gift with purchases. Then I have 2 of these LEGO Chima headlights that I found at a local collectible store and I thought they were interesting, so I picked them up. Last, I have this random LEGO City chicken coop that I bought because I thought it looked kind of cool. Now we're going to take a look at some of my boxed Pokemon Mega sets. The first 3 we have here are the evolution lines for Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. I plan to open these up relatively soon and review them here on my channel. Next up we also have a couple of smaller Mega Pokemon sets, and again I plan to open these up and review them here on my channel. Finishing things off, we have a bunch of Pokemon still in their Pokeballs. By the time this video goes live, I should have opened up a few of them already, and they should be relatively quick reviews in the form of YouTube Shorts here on my channel. Before we continue to take a look around the room, I thought it'd be fun to show off some of my LEGO books that I own. I also have a YouTube short series about the Big Book of LEGO Facts and the Minifigure of Visual History New Edition if you wanted to check those out as well. Now that we have finished going through this pile, we are ready to continue around the room, moving on to my desk. I don't think there's really anything too exciting going on with my desk. I have a Grogu and Darth Revan minifigure, as well as a Super Mario Maker Rubik's Cube there in the back. There's a couple of brick separators, a LEGO clock, and 4 of the Marvel Series 2 collectible minifigures I still have yet to open. Moving down towards the floor, we're going to be taking a look at my computer that I actually built with a friend a couple of years ago. He was the computer guy out of the friend group, and I don't really know the specs of this thing, but it still runs pretty well to this day. Continuing along, we have a Jango Fett Slave 1 from my childhood. And yes, I am fully aware that my cord management is completely terrible. Continuing along the room, I have something I think a lot of you guys will enjoy. This is a minifigure scaled version of the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. I have had this thing for a very long time, and it is missing a couple of parts, but I still really enjoy having this thing. I got it as a gift on Christmas from my mom well over 10 years ago, and it's still one of my favorite things that I own. It has a couple of panels that can be taken off the top of the ship, and it shows off the interior. Beside it, I also have the new 2024 Boarding the Tantive 4 set. And below the table that the Millennium Falcon is sitting on, this is where I keep a lot of my extra pieces and instruction manuals. Here's a look at a couple of minifigure packs that I haven't opened, as well as a bunch of random sealed poly bags that I may or may not open in the future. Inside this giant LEGO brick is where I keep a lot of my building instructions. And then directly underneath the table, I also have a couple of colored bins here that hold a lot of my extra pieces and a couple of other building instructions. Moving along, I have this white rolling table here that I use to build a lot of my LEGO sets on, as well as a couple of ring lights to help with lighting in videos. And one day I do hope to live stream building LEGO sets online, and I think these will come in handy for that. On the table, I currently have my Mega Pokemon Center, which at the time of recording this video is the most recent review that I've made. It's also my first Mega review on this channel, so I'm a little nervous about it, but I do hope you guys are enjoying it. Moving along here, I have a couple of Star Wars figures on the wall. I've had a lot of these for over 10 years, and I think a couple of them are worth a couple $100. Continuing along, we're now going to talk about what is in the corner of my office here. So at the top of this random pile, we have the Death Star, which was the May 4th promo of last year, and a couple of other Dragon Ball Super figures. As we continue moving on down, you can also see the remote control car from the collector's edition of Call of Duty Black Ops. I also have my backpack that I use when I go traveling, as well as a lightsaber I built from Galaxy's Edge at Disney World. I'm not going to bother taking it out right now, because last time I took it out, it sadly wasn't working. Now we're taking a look at what is underneath the shelves. There's a giant Grogu bobblehead, the black and white astromech droid I built at Galaxy's Edge. There's also my Coruscant Guard gunship, as well as a couple of random LEGO Minecraft sets. In the back there, you can also see my 2020 AT-AT. On the very first shelf, we have my LEGO Minecraft sets. I'm not the biggest fan of Minecraft, and I mainly bought these, like I said earlier, to build them with my girlfriend's younger siblings. But if you are a fan of LEGO Minecraft and want to see a more in-depth look at these sets, let me know in the comments below. And I may or may not revisit LEGO Minecraft in the future, because I do think it is a really cool idea for a theme. With the current price of LEGO, I just couldn't justify continuing to add to this collection. But I do think these sets look really nice displayed together on my shelf. Moving on to the next shelf, we have a bunch of ships from LEGO Star Wars. My favorite out of these has to be the Ghost and Phantom 2. Also really enjoyed building Ahsoka's T6 Jedi Shuttle. There's also the Mandalorian Fang Fighter, the Pirate Snub Fighter, and the Republic Fighter tank. Moving up to the third shelf, we have even more LEGO Star Wars. My favorite ship on this shelf is probably the Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter. I also really enjoyed the build for the X-Wing and Shin Hati Starfighter. As we pan back to the start of the shelf, I'm also a fan of the E-Wing there in the white and blue. I also just randomly have the Bad Batch here. Now we're taking a look at the very top of my shelf, which is a little messy. This is where a lot of my overflow LEGO sets go. Some of my favorites on the shelf are the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, my LEGO Star Wars Imperial Light Cruiser, and the Spider-Man Sandman attack set there in the back. You can also see the X-Men X-Jet, and there's also a couple of box LEGO sets there in the back. Those include the LEGO Marvel Iron Man mech, Bro Thor's New Asgard, and the Mandalorian Fang Fighter vs. TIE Interceptor. Underneath the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, you can see a LEGO store and Yoda's Jedi Starfighter. I'm not really too happy with this shelf as it's a little too messy for my liking, but if I build a LEGO set and I don't have space for it, it typically will go up here. The last thing we're going to take a look at in this room is my Dragon Ball Super collection. I don't think too many of you guys are going to be interested in this, so I'll just do a quick pan down and then we'll move along. If you are a fan of Dragon Ball, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Now we're out in my living room, and this area should look familiar if you have ever seen any of my other videos, as this is typically where I will film. The things that I want to show off in this room are my two glass cabinets beside my TV and the shelves there in the corner. Starting at the top, we have Sonic the Hedgehog and Luke Skywalker's Red 5 helmet. Moving on down, we have a LEGO Star Wars diorama and Boba Fett and the Mandalorian's helmets. Continuing on down, we have kind of a mix of DC and Marvel. The main centerpiece is the Avengers ship there, but there's also a Batman and Joker vehicle in the corners. Continuing on down, we're now back to Star Wars. In the back is Boba Fett's throne room, and in the front we have Jabba the Hutt. There was a really bad glare on the bottom shelf, so I opened it up and you can see various Star Wars collectibles. Now we're going to take a look at my entertainment system, because on the top 3 shelves I have a lot of LEGO. On the very first shelf here, I have a lot of the CMF series minifigures. This is also where I keep a lot of my LEGO Marvel minifigures. In the middle shelf, we have the Death Star Trash Compactor diorama and the TIE Bomber. As we continue along, on the final shelf, we have a lot of my LEGO Star Wars minifigures, as well as some of the Marvel Series 2 collectible minifigures. Looking above my TV, this is where I keep my Sonic the Hedgehog brickheads. I really like how the brickheads sit on the shelf here. And if we look to the right, we can see another shelf that has some of my Star Wars brickheads. Moving along, we're going to take a look at the cabinet on the other side of the TV. The top shelf is just a bunch of random LEGO sets, but as we move down, you can see some LEGO Star Wars sets, including the brand new buildable R2-D2 that came with the Darth Malak minifigure. The middle shelf here has the Winnie the Pooh set and a couple of other Disney sets. I really like the Disney 100 gift with purchase there in the back, but I'm hesitant to open it up. Continuing on down, we have even more Disney sets, which include the Walt Disney Tribute Camera, the Up House, and the Disney Celebration Train. Now we're going to move down to the bottom, which is probably my favorite Disney shelf that I have. I really like the layout and how everything just fits nicely together. Continuing along, we're now going to move into the corner here, which has my Sonic the Hedgehog collection. A lot of this collection is the new LEGO Sonic theme, as well as various Sonic collectibles from my childhood. There's a Sonic the Hedgehog painting there in the back that a friend painted me back in high school. And overall, this is just one of my favorite areas of my collection. It has a lot of nostalgia for me for a lot of the older collectibles that I own, but it's also refreshing having all of these new LEGO Sonic sets mixed in the collection. Hanging on the wall are various Sonic figures that I've collected over the years, the oldest of which are the Super Sonic figure and the Knuckles comic book. Right below my Sonic collection is a bunch of LEGO pandas. My girlfriend is obsessed with pandas, so she wanted to have these displayed out in the living room. Moving on down, we have the Indoor Speeder diorama and one of the sequel sets that includes Rey and 2 Knights of Ren. Moving on down to the shelf below, we have the LEGO Star Wars TIE Interceptor and my Sonic the Hedgehog Mr. Potato Head. Moving on down to the bottom, we have a helmet from the video game franchise Killzone and my LEGO Star Wars ATTE. Now we are in my kitchen and I have some LEGO flowers here on the countertop, but a lot of my collection can be found at the very top of my kitchen above the cabinets. And yes, I'm going to stand on my kitchen counter so you guys can get a better look at what's at the top. In the corner, we have the LEGO Star Wars BD-1, the Horizon Forbidden West tall neck, and the Mandalorian Starfighter and a Darth Malgus statue from the Knights of the Old Republic MMO. Moving on to the middle of the cabinets, you can see we have the LEGO Marvel Thor mech. Behind it, we have the Spider-Man Miles Morales mech. And behind that, we have the retired LEGO Star Wars set Death Star Final Duel. To the left there, you can see a boxed Darth Revan figure that was on my desk. There's also a couple of Death Note figures, as my girlfriend's a pretty big fan of that anime. We have a couple of other random LEGO sets, as well as the built-up LEGO minifigure. In front of him, we have the LEGO Muppets collectible minifigure series, and beside that, we have the LEGO Star Wars Bad Batch shuttle. Continuing along, we have a couple of the older collectible minifigure series, as well as the LEGO Starry Night Van Gogh set, which I think is really cool looking. Continuing along, we have the Rocket and Baby Groot buildable figure, as well as another collectible minifigure series. I've also got a couple of random Funko Pops sitting up here, my favorite of which is Darth Revan. And finishing things off, we also have a couple of seasonal LEGO BrickHeads. Finally, we've made it into my bedroom. Sitting on top of this bookshelf, we have the Razor Crest buildable child and my very first LEGO Star Wars set that I ever owned. There's also yet another LEGO Star Wars diorama sitting on the shelf. In the corner here, we have the boxed Darth Vader's castle. I've also got a couple of the buildable Groots and the Groot BrickHead. Moving on down from that, we also have another area dedicated to LEGO Star Wars. We have one of the Obi-Wan sets and an Andor set. This is also where I keep most of my LEGO Star Wars speeder bikes. Moving on down, we have a shelf that has a lot of Marvel mechs and vehicles. This is another one of the shelves that I really like because I just think everything fits really well together. Continuing on, this is just a shelf of random LEGO, but I do think everything fits together very nicely in this area. And finally, we have my Inquisitor Transport Scythe and the Lars Family Kitchen gift with purchase from a couple years ago. And that's pretty much everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if there's something you saw in this video that you wanted me to talk more in depth about, just let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.